I debated making this video for a good month. I still feel like if it's taken the wrong way, the person involved might think I'm trying to cancel them or something, but I'm not. This video is meant to serve as a critique of his previous actions, ask him why he decided to come to some of the conclusions he did, explain why he got into controversies the way he does, and maybe even help him reevaluate his content. I would like to thank Scorchly for the idea. We had a long conversation about this a while back, and she mentioned potentially making this kind of video, so I feel it's only fair if you guys give her some love. Some of you in the audience might think, oh, he's trying to respark old drama, because I made a video on him 3 months ago about the whole Has-Been Hotel issue, but what really drove me over the edge to do this is some of the stuff he's decided to do after the Has-Been review was made. As you, the viewer, might know, I did a collaboration with PK back in November that was sort of a way of saying water under the bridge to both of our fan bases. I still see that video as a peace treaty and sign of maturity between the both of us, and hope with this video, PK will see that this is a video trying nothing more than to help him and his content overall in the future. No drama, no war, just a critique. I'm aware that several of you have no idea who or what I'm talking about, so let me explain. PK Russl is a channel with over 200,000 subscribers. PK started off creating Nintendo-related content, but didn't hit his true stride until he made a video called Cuphead Cringe. Preceding that, he made plenty more videos about cringe until he struck content gold once again with his coveted series, Animation Meme Review. He talked about the drama between Pentagrin, Stories, Spoctor, and all the others and how it was bullshit, and he also makes videos relating to the art community in general and dramas it gets involved in. Those who've heard his name in the past few months are most likely for his Has-Been Hotel video, which I and other commentators made videos on, and his responses, which many commentators also made videos on because, to be blunt, they were bad. I'll get to that later, but at the moment let's focus on his video quality itself. It isn't good. His videos are far from well made when he's creating them himself. They're just passable, really. His camera is nice, but as far as the footage he uses from that camera, he just kind of zooms in and out and puts it in the corner occasionally. When he can get Daft Pina or Feghost to edit his videos, they are much more entertaining and much better to look at, so maybe that should be something he tries to do more in the future. His editing isn't bad on his own because he's lazy per se, but it could partially be because he edits his videos the same day and sometimes the day after he records said video. What I mean by that is he never writes a script. Apparently he doesn't like to read off them and thinks he's less quote-unquote real if he has to rely on a piece of paper whenever he starts speaking. Even one of his editors, Daft Pina, was very surprised when he found out there wasn't a script while they were making a video together.
I mean, do you have the script? What? Script. Oh wait, cut this part out. Do you have the script?
There's no script. This is from Rimuchi.
At most, he'll go in with bullet points on what he's generally going to talk about, and he just goes. In theory, there isn't anything wrong with this, considering the content he's known for. Reviewing minute-long animation memes, sure, you could get a feel for a video like that by just watching it a few times, looking at the details of it, and then you can just pour your thoughts out. Videos where he just looks and reads cringy and or seemingly over-sexualized art from a fandom, super easy to just talk about. You could just look at it and make a joke then move on. What I don't think should be entirely improvised are videos about, say, a 30-minute long TV show pilot, because if you want to get into many specifics of why you dislike it and don't even check to make sure you're saying it correct, you're definitely going to end up making some mistakes. When you make a review in that kind of style, you want to make sure your criticism is valid and not like you thought it up as you were watching the portion for the first time. One of the many benefits of having a script is better organization. You can know exactly which portion you'll talk about next and stay on topic for the entire duration because you've looked over your wording to make sure it doesn't stray. When you're talking hot from the skillet right off the bat, you'll get into an aspect of something and why you dislike it, but there can be plenty of long pauses while you're thinking of what to say next, tangents are almost inevitable, and without a proper script so you know what you've already said, you might end up repeating yourself even if you don't mean to. These kind of flaws, especially the repeating, can be seen in some of his videos and make it feel like he's padding the entire thing when really he just doesn't have a script to fall back on. I personally like having the chance to let other friends proofread your work if you're unsure of it or think it can use some improving. I personally had Dumpsville and Junkie look over it just to make sure that I wasn't leaving anything out, and the fact that he doesn't think he even needs a script is kind of telling about his content and the general effort required. PK makes simple content, in some cases embarrassingly simple. So simple in fact that I believe the people who would most enjoy this content are children. Let me pose you a question. Is it hard to look at DeviantArt and check for cringe images and then say how cringy said images are? No. Anyone has the ability to just say, hey guys, you see this image? Well, this image is weird, and it's not like the actual product. "Aye funny, honk honk." Looking at something the general public already classifies as weird and saying, "Oh whoa, that's weird," is not comedy. It's looking at something and saying what other people think about it. Most of his jokes are reaction images, like, you know on Twitter when someone says something and another person tweets at them a shocked reaction image or gif? That's almost every joke in his cringe series. I'm glad he does it less often now because it's not good. His animation meme reviews aren't bad, but his scale of animation, meme, entertainment value, and art is kind of vague sometimes, mostly on the meme portion, but otherwise it's just sort of fine. He clearly does seem to have a small level of disdain for animation memes in general. I say that mostly for how he tends to say he really loves animations that give a 0 or a low number on the meme scale. Oh, and here's a clip of him saying he doesn't like to watch animation memes.
Of course you're not impressed. You like watching animation memes. I most certainly do not like watching animation memes.
Maybe that's why he recently decided to just stop reviewing memes he thinks are bad and just look at animations he thinks are underrated. So if that's the case, good for him. As for everything else he makes, the occasional review and art controversy videos, they're fine when they aren't misinformed, which does happen more than you'd expect, but that's for later. Through his content, I could deduce one thing for sure, and that's that he has a large audience that is at least partially made up of several thousand kids. When I made the collaboration with PK, a video going through dumb tumblers, I was given the choice to choose what we were going to do, so I tried to think of something that you could just sit down and make fun of like his cringe series, but was also for young teenagers. You can't tell me PK doesn't attract that audience when one of his first big videos had to do with Cuphead. He constantly likes to talk about DeviantArt drama, animation memes, or gacha life, and he doesn't even swear out of fear of being demonetized. I personally swear like a sailor sometimes, and I'll let you in on a little secret. Almost all my videos are monetized, so it's not as big of an issue as PK thinks to censor himself from saying words like fuck. And of course, PK would attract a large audience of children if he was making videos where he constantly said how much he liked or disliked content clearly made by them. I don't think PK is unable to make videos making fun of or laughing at animations by children. I would like it if he was a little bit harsh, but I get it. Kids generally make less quality stuff, and it's much easier to say how much you dislike something rather than how much you like something. What he does need to realize, if he doesn't already, is that's gonna gain him several young viewers. Talking about children and how they think a bit, they generally will try to rationalize why someone will say they don't like something they like so they can seem cool and understanding to that person. It's easy to say, well, everyone has their own opinion about something, and just call it a day. Quick little theory, that might be partially why before the Has-Been video he never got much criticism on such a high level, because it usually stayed within his own little circle of children who want to try as hard as they can to be understanding about how PK Senpai doesn't like something they do. What I'm trying to get at here is PK's content is fragmented among the kind of video 11-year-olds would watch to try and keep up with the most recent DeviantArt drama, and videos that have content more appropriate for people more around my age. His cringe series includes several sexual-looking images and such that seem like they wouldn't be very suitable for his audience of minors. I know he's been doing videos on cringe much longer than he has on animation memes and other things of that nature, but these content types seem so far away in age range that it becomes jarring looking through his feed to see a video on cringy gacha life next to whatever this is. I also understand that he can do whatever he wants with YouTube, but he should know his audience and if it would be the best thing to be showing them. It would probably be optimal if he chose one or the other for his main channel and moved the other to a second. I'd think if he were to do this, he'd pick the cringe series since he focuses much less on that now. Another thing about his audience, he made a terrible decision on his Twitter that has people questioning why he did it. PK Russl has a Twitter account. Most of us have Twitter accounts. It's no uncommon thing, but he made a disgraceful, shameless decision on his Twitter. He posted a picture of himself showing off less than his Sunday best. Okay, it was a picture of his ass. He posted a picture of him showing his ass while wearing a fursuit helmet. I'm trying to be as tasteful as I can, but this is one of, if not the most idiotic thing he has ever done. Do what you want on your private Twitter, or even your public one if you have a very adult fan base, but PK Russl undoubtedly has thousands of followers who are underage, including me, a 15-year-old. He posted this picture with no warning, no censor, no version of it that wasn't bad, and a link to those who were over 18, just full on showing off, no shame. He actually counted down the days to this apparently, and I am very surprised at how he couldn't have seen in all that time that maybe he should have reconsidered doing this, or possibly have the thought of asking someone else if they thought it was a good idea to do so. The fact he did it implies he either had no idea what he was doing was bad, and he just has terrible foresight, or during that time he thought about it and decided it would be a good idea. With the accusations of him following certain artists on Fur Affinity, this would not help his case at all, but rather add fuel to the fire. He is not doing anything to help himself out. I actually do think PK just posted this without thinking, and that was that, but really you gotta wonder why he would even consider such a decision when he had a fan base full of minors and underage supporters. PK, please, delete the photo, apologize or make a video explaining yourself, and stop adding more fuel to the accusers. Moving on, let's talk about the big controversy PK has been in the past few months. His video on Has Been Hotel and the multiple unnecessary, bad, straight up misinformative responses he made to how people responded to him. One of which was so bad, he deleted it without really addressing why, though it's pretty obvious. To put it simply, PK made a bad review of Has Been Hotel, a web-made animated pilot created by Vivian Medrano. I made an entire video about why I thought it was bad, how it made points that were straight up wrong, how PK constantly says a reason the show is bad is because it uses tropes. You can watch the video if you're interested. Even so, that wasn't going to be the biggest backlash PK got from a Has Been video, even though he got plenty of responses to his initial review. His first 40-minute response was received with a resounding, yeah, no. He mostly reiterated the same points and said some more false info, like how the show hadn't been called a musical before his review, which was just incorrect. Something he probably would have learned about if he decided to write a script. He also said in his review that the show has immature humor and therefore is worse because of it, when his entire brand of comedy comes from cringe. One of his main parts of that video was that his opinion is subjective, and therefore you can't criticize it because it's an opinion. Funny he said that, because I watched a live response to my video of his, and he said in it, if you were a true fan, you'd know I play an exaggerated character, and that I shouldn't be taken completely seriously all the time. So which is it, PK? Is your serious opinion subjective, and because it's subjective no one can criticize it, even though you got several portions straight up wrong, or are you being an exaggerative character who's intentionally mean and shouldn't be taken seriously? You can't have both if you're making these specific arguments. That wasn't the big one though. The big freakout was on a much smaller video talking about still getting comments about Has Been Hotel after he supposedly stopped talking about it. In the video, he says he hasn't mentioned Has Been Hotel in over a week, when really, in the video he's referring to, he does mention Has Been Hotel. Too bad you can't see that now, because not only did PK get rid of the video where he says he didn't talk about Has Been, he also removed the video clearly showing that he did. That would have been some fine cleanup work if you hadn't uploaded it to the internet where nothing is ever truly gone. He also says the videos talking about his video were doing it because he was negative, because they were trying to cancel him, because they disliked his video mostly for other reasons besides the review itself, and that if he said positive things, the community wouldn't have gone after his video, and that instead they would have liked it? My favorite claim of his is that the reason he got any hate on his original Has Been video was the commentators like I sent hate to him and asked our fans to dislike his video. Yeah, that's right, one of Parker's favorite arguments when he gets criticism like this is to blame other people. He blamed not only commentators for the reason his video was disliked, but also the fans of Has Been Hotel. He actually believed that his video was in fact targeted by the fan base to receive dislikes, and that because his video had a low general watch time, it meant that most people were just coming, disliking, and then just going. It was just so inconceivable to him that his review might have been bad that he immediately went to thinking a hate mob had gone after his video and mass disliked it. Another person he partially blamed in this drama was Vivzy for her company auto-taking down his review thinking it was a re-upload. It was an honest mistake that many companies do, but to PK, it meant they were stealing his money, and that Vivzy herself was partly to blame for quote-unquote allowing her company to do this and not stepping in, as if she had personally seen the company flag his video and just turned a blind eye to it. This isn't his only case either. He also made a video about a Warrior Cats map that got copyright strike by one of the creators creators. PK's video could be criticized for certain aspects, such as how the map he was covering was from a book series that was known for being pretty serious from what I've heard, but because of that one takedown from some kid and a few comments that weren't even all that terrible, he made a video saying the community was dumb and couldn't take criticism, and another saying it was just straight out terrible. He did get moderate pushback on that "the community is terrible" video, as it did have several points that just weren't good, and the reason that he made that video in the first place was it was another review of another Warrior Cats MAP because he was still salty about the fact that that kid took down his video originally, and PK still classifies them as haters and Warrior Cat stands to this day. It's easy to say that the reason your video isn't getting good rankings or people are criticizing your video is because they're just haters who like the series you don't like, but it isn't. It's also easy to cherry pick certain instances of the fan base being kind of dumb and saying the entire community is just like that. It's immature, petty, and kind of defamatory to the community, when in reality most of them are just perfectly fine people who like the same thing. You gotta realize that people usually criticize your video when they're worthy of it, PK. Accept that and you'll have a much easier time accepting it rather than pushing it away and thinking that your videos are just great and they're just haters. The last thing I want to talk about is when PK gets drama wrong. This is completely unrelated to the has-been portion, though it can also apply. No, this has something more to do with one figure known as Caro. Now, what did he do exactly? Terrible stuff. It's been proven true. He's a scumbag. I don't want to talk about it. It doesn't have to do with the subject. The point is, PK made a video trying to defend him before evidence was entirely solid. His video was titled "Caro is innocent," later changed to "Is Caro innocent?", which he later admitted to just be clickbait so people would watch. The video wasn't terrible. Some of the points he made weren't substantial evidence of falsehood, but the video was an okay attempt at trying to defend him without making it seem like he was trying to be biased or something. After that video came out, it was found that Caro did indeed do all the things he was accused of, and of course, some people started ragging on PK for trying to defend him. In this situation, if I was him, I would have unlisted or deleted the video and not apologized, but admitted I was wrong and moved on. Obviously, that isn't what PK did. He made a follow-up video that looked like an apology, but actually wasn't. Instead, it was a video explaining why he made the original and why he wasn't sorry about it, which is fair enough. Could probably have been in a tweet, but fine. A while after that, he made a third video talking about people who thought he was dumb for making the Caro video or something like that. Honestly, it seemed pretty unnecessary at this point, but whatever. Then, and yes, there is one more then, once again, several months after those videos were all made, PK made a fourth and final video describing all the previous videos in one, and once again explaining why he made it as if we didn't get the point the first time. All these videos range from 30 minutes to 40 minutes in length. In total, he made over 2 hours of content about Caro, and it feels like after the second video, maybe even during the second video, that he was milking it way too hard. There was no need to make a third video denouncing people who disliked your original defense, which turned out to be wrong, or especially a fourth video that just summarizes the other three. I guess it is needed now though, since you deleted or unlisted the other three. The only one I was able to find re-uploaded was the original defense, and one of the guys that PK had called out clapping back at him. I have no idea why he felt such a compulsive need to defend himself so much to an excessive degree, then suddenly delete all of them except the one explaining it. If you get something wrong, you get something wrong. You didn't have nearly as many receipts for your claims as the Spoctor video, and it ended with you just being wrong. All that was needed to do was to move on. Please try not to do it again in the future. So there it is. I made a full, comprehensive video on all the actions of PK I think need to be evaluated by him and hopefully changed in the future. I want to stress this video was not made out of spite or just so that I could call him out and try and serve his head on a silver platter or anything. I simply felt like that all needed to be addressed to try and help PK grow as a content creator and decision maker. If you don't like animation memes, Parker, try making videos on something you genuinely enjoy creating, and I can see you doing so much better. You have plenty of charisma, you're full of energy. If you just put it into the right videos you deeply cared about, I could see you making much greater stuff. I see tons of problems with your current videos, but if you take the chance to maybe reinvent yourself to be more than just cringe humor and shocked expressions, your videos could be just so much better. It's all about trying to constantly self-improve yourself and making sure you can do better. That's just an opinion though, but I see a dark future ahead if you continue where you're going. This has been Just Stop. I'm going to bed.